Welcome to this short video clip that helps you to know how to identify emerging themes and lessons from a focus group discussion that you've just conducted from the field. Many times when you're doing qualitative research, you end up with very voluminous amount of data. This will be transcripts, notes from those who are taking the notes in the field. Yet, for the person who is writing the report, they need to quickly identify what are the emerging issues. So this video clip will help you to do that. Remember, this data is from a focus group discussion or key informant interview, and certain things must be taken note of. One is you need to have the consent forms properly filled. Where you're involving children, remember their parents should have given you the consent. So that is point number one. Number two is we will need to know who was in this study, who participated in the focus group discussion. So capture the age, the sex, just in numbers, we could know that majority of these were aged between 10 to 20 or, whatever the age group that is there. And they were a mix of men and women, or they were fully women. You could also capture a bit of the occupation. Are they farmers? These are largely farmers. So these are quick background information that you bring out to help us to know what is the context of those who participated in this. Now, also remember that this does not replace your transcript. The notes that we generate from here are not replacing your transcripts. We need your transcriptions. And in doing your transcripts, we will need your audio recording, the way it was. A lot of times people will ask, I don't have a recorder. At least now with the new phones that are emerging, we have your smartphones have the ability to capture as much data. And all you need to do is put your recorder on, turn off your airplane mode, or turn on your airplane mode so that no one calls you in the middle of the recording. And then because you'll be passing it around, be sure to have some hand sanitizer that you'll pass around, and so that when the gadget is being passed, you're not passing the risk of passing an infection. Also very important that you're all working as a team in the next stage where you're trying to bring together the report. And as you do this, every response is correct, because remember, it's not your opinion. It is the opinion that you had from those who participated in this. So with those emphasis, I want to go now into how do you generate the emerging themes. Eventually, we want to end up with something like this. This is your debrief, where you will be able to see from a color code what are the main issues that were emerging from who. Now, it will look like this eventually also much better when we have from the various counties and the various groups that have done the focus group discussion. So the step one is you will have mapped out the critical questions that need to be answered for this study. I want us to address just one question. In this study, which is based on the interviews that you've done in focus group discussion in Turkana for young men, what we want to know is we wanted to understand what is the impact, and then what is being done. So in this stage, I want you to take out your sheet of paper, which is cut off any piece of paper. If you're in the field, it doesn't have to be a paper like mine. It could be from an exercise book. Give each of the team members who participated in this study 3 pieces. In those 3 pieces, I want us to answer the question of what is being done to address the impact of hunger in Turkana. So based on the interview that you've just undertaken, for each paper, write one thing that stood out for you as most important or most repeated. So I'll give you about a minute to do that. The intervention is on medicine being provided to treat water. Thank you.
Cash transfer.
So another intervention is on cash transfer, which is money that is provided to families, I think by government. When we come to the discussion, we'll know who is providing it. So that's a different one.
And provision of fees and crops.
So seeds and crops that are being provided, and we'll get back to discuss who is providing this.
Cash transfer from previous organization.
So cash transfer, so that's similar to the first one.
Provision of seeds to farmers.
So seeds again stood out for you.
And food donation from county government.
So we have a new point response, which is food donation. Go ahead, Hop.
Cash transfers.
So cash transfer provided.
Foodstuffs and donation.
Food stuff, it's similar to the other one.
Learning materials.
And learning materials being provided. So this looks like an educational intervention. Put it separately in the middle there.
Solution of cash.
So cash transfer. So this seems to have been mentioned by a lot of people.
Food distributions.
Distribution of food, donations. I think it's related to this.
Then learning materials.
Learning materials being provided. So put it right there.
Learning materials.
Learning materials that are being provided. Put it next to that.
The health outreaches.
So there is health outreaches, which I think are health clinics being sent out to the communities. Put it separately.
Provision of cash transfer.
And then there's cash transfer again. So cash transfer seems to be, and there is an importance on how many times something is being mentioned. I know you may be repeating, but it also could indicate just how many times you all had something being mentioned. It shows that is the most important one. Go ahead, Jonathan. Okay, county government support. Is it related to any of this? We don't know whether it is food or whether it is what. We don't know whether it's cash. Maybe we'll revisit it. Let's put it here separately. Cash transfer. So there is cash transfer. And provision of seeds and crops. Okay, great. So now what we want to do here is to map out the themes and give them an overarching theme. So this will be sort of sub-themes. So do we agree? Do you remember in what context the county government support was described in the conversation? In which form? What were they supporting? Was it brought out?
I think they were working with
Boreholes. Great. So you are allowed, when you are discussing together, to clarify this kind of thing. So let's add here boreholes, because that stands out. Is it related to any of this? It can stand on its own. So more of an infrastructure. So this is infrastructure. So we can have this as a separate one. So how many thematic issues are we having? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 thematic issues. So we could give a color for each of these. Please write here, theme 1, infrastructure, support. You can write theme 2. What theme can this one fall in? Medicine and water treatment. Wash, we can put it under wash. So write theme 2. You can use another color code. Theme 2 as wash. Okay, so put this one's maybe under it a little bit. What theme? This is cash transfer. Social protection. Beautiful. So please write here, social protection. Which theme is, do we leave the health on its own or do we bring it under wash? Okay. So health outreaches are part of water and health care treatment. Okay, so we'll arrange them in one direction. So when we bring our camera, it will be visible. Let's put them like this. Okay, which theme is that? Which one? Food distribution. What theme can that fall in? We just call it food distribution? Okay. So please write, that will be theme number, yours is theme number 3.
But food distributions are still
Social protection?
And they could also go with
Which one?
that's
Food security.
It's like it's because the living this is language.
So it could fall under livelihood. And this is a good conversation because this needs to be clarified out there in the field. So it could fall under livelihoods, it could fall under food security, under nutrition. So let's just put them under food security. It's usually a more blanket. So call it theme number 4, food security. Do we have another theme? Learning material. Okay, which color haven't we used? So please write theme number food security for that. So theme number 5 is on educational material support. So overall, while you're out there in the field, you have been able to support whoever is preparing the report to see what are the emerging themes. And now, one more role that you have is because most of you are community members, you have the opportunity to describe what are the drivers, what could be the factors that are linked to whatever interventions that have been pointed out, or even what are the challenges to some of these interventions that have been done by others. So we'll briefly describe that. And I want us to begin with the food security. Being residents of this area, what will you say are some of the drivers or important things to be considered if you're going to have food security to work out as an intervention? So you could say, and then I will expound it briefly. Go ahead, Jonathan.
In this community, yes, there is food education.
Thank you for that input, that if we are going to do any food security intervention, then the opportunity that exists is in irrigation. And we know that along the river, Takwel, and other places, there is already ongoing irrigation programs by the national government, and that can be tapped into. I want us to finish up with 2 other themes, but as you do that, when you're emphasizing your point, I'll want you to draw more from what you heard them mention, so that it's not necessarily you can observe as community members, but what more did you hear? So let's talk about WASH. Any important things to be considered in the interventions on WASH? Yes, John.
Doing WASH from the field, what came on is, because the pastoralists again, they don't have toilets.
If you're going to do a WASH intervention, think about the challenge of open defecation, that people don't use pit latrines, and how we need to be able to improve on hygiene in managing food. And thank you for emphasizing that even under WASH, there are issues of gender dynamics that must be considered, the role of men, women, and how we bring more sensitization on doing this. Great. So as a team, you can see we've been able to generate almost a full report that demonstrates what are the important interventions that are required to address child hunger in the Turkana community. The themes have emerged. You can see we have theme 1, that there must be an infrastructure support, boreholes being done. Theme 2, there must be an intervention on access to medicine and clean water. Theme number 3, that they want to see food security, and this includes seeds being provided. And then we have theme number another theme is on social protection, which cash transfer seems to be the most mentioned. Either it means it's working, and then our last theme was on educational support. And you've given the background into some of the factors that may be a challenge. So team out, when you're out there, we'll expect that the note takers will be able to take photos of these themes. So just take your camera and take a photo and send it along with your report. Take the notes that explain the various themes, and also the backgrounds, give us the dynamics behind each of these interventions. Again, remember, this does not replace your transcript, so we really expect your transcript, but you will have helped us to generate the initial headlines, the initial themes that are emerging out of this. So thank you very much.